Hello everyone and welcome back to the live coverage of YCS Milan 2019. We started with 1,945 players and we've eliminated all of them down to the last 32. We're pleased to bring you the top 32 match. I'd like to introduce our first player, representing the US, Thomas Williams. Come on in. How are you doing today?
Good, pretty good.
So how's your tournament gone so far? Obviously pretty good for the top cut, but you're feeling confident?
Yeah, I started out really shaky. I lost round 1 and drew round 3, so I had to win 8 of the road to top, and I made it here. So hopefully the luck continues.
Hopefully that's a massive confidence boost when you just win straight games like that, right?
Usually when you're on a hot streak, you feel good. So I'm gonna try to keep it.
So I believe you had a top cut in YCS Columbus, right? What was your final finish?
In Columbus, I finished in top 16. Yeah, I lost in top 16 on stream.
Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that, but hopefully you got a chance to now get your own title, right?
Yeah, hopefully. So all my teammates on Luxury Gaming won the last 2 events, so I'm trying to continue the streak. Yeah.
Yeah, they'll never let you live it down if you miss this one, right?
Yeah, hopefully not. Yeah.
All right, man, if you'd like to take your seat, and I'll introduce your opponent. Niall McNulty, representing the United Kingdom. Come on in. How are you doing?
I'm good. How's it going? Cheers, guys. Cheers.
I think the crowd might be a bit biased here, Thomas. I'm sorry about that. So how are you feeling about the tournament so far?
I'm feeling really good. It was feeling a bit shaky after losing round 10, but luckily sorted it. I'm back in and talking to Tom. He's really friendly, really good chat, so looking forward to it.
This is the first time you guys have played, right?
Yeah.
What's your highest finish in an event? Is this your best place finish so far?
Yeah, it's my first YCS top. I bubbled London last round. I just lost to 60 card pendulum, so it's just unfortunate. But yeah, UK Nationals top 32 this year, and yeah, here I am now.
So you're on a bit of a hot streak, and hopefully you take it all the way through to the finals. If you'd like to take your seat. Right, guys, I'm going to throw you over to our casters for this round, Farfa and Tom, and they'll go through the brackets and all the cool stuff.
Welcome back, everyone. We are here with top 32. It's always exciting. It feels like almost like a new tournament
as
at
Matt
this stage.
said, we have eliminated everyone else. It's not 32 remain, it's the other players have been eliminated. It's very strong.
Removed from the building.
Removed. They have been banished.
Yep. So we've got...
as Matt said, the good stuff. This is my favorite stuff. You know, you get to look what's happened, what is the outcome of the tournament from the stats nerds point of view. This is like we'll see who started exactly. You see what decks, what was the how were the decks at the beginning, and then what was the most popular, what can you expect to face, and then actually what was the best, what performed the best.
So we'll take a look at the breakdown.
We're going to tease you
stats
first with the country breakdown.
Yep. So this is our.
So we have, if we have a look in the country breakdown here.
This is the initial.
This is the initial one, just to compare it to what's going on in the top 32. So as one might expect. Lots of Italians.
Yep, and a big showing by Bulgaria as well. A
big showing by Bulgaria. I'm not sure I've seen them out of the other category before. And then we can hopefully bring up the top 32.
So by comparison, it seems that this is how it's looking. Ireland
unfortunately,
won.
Bulgaria not doing so hot anymore.
Well, it could be other, maybe.
It could be in the other, and they could have one.
Perhaps they've just put it together.
Yeah, I don't think our graphic can show
Greece
all
with
of the ones.
2 spots there. Unfortunate. Anista's got the 33rd.
Oh,
the 33rd spot.
Gutting, always.
Yeah, unfortunate.
It's so, the events are getting so popular now and so big that getting in the top 32 is actually really hard now. I mean, it used to be you could just win all your rounds. Now you have to win, and you have to win them well and get the good tiebreakers.
So the cutoff point is like 2050-ish, I believe?
Or 248, yeah.
248?
Yeah, 2,048 players.
Yeah,
for the extra round.
So because of these attendances being in the just about clipping 2,000, it means that it's a lot of people, but not enough to
have the one extra round.
Yeah. So it means you end up with a lot of people who are X2, and then falling short despite being X2.
Yeah, it's not just your record now; it's as well as you have to have the good tiebreakers.
Yeah, your performance.
Or a very, very strong record. I'm happy about the UK performance there, coming in second, third even, after Italy and Germany. Yeah, basically the same. It's fairly similar. Bronze, we'll take it. And we can move on.
Take a look at the deck breakdown from the very beginning.
So just to remind everyone, we saw this yesterday. Orcus Pure being the most popular.
Goes without surprise, I think.
Yeah,
people,
maybe.
Maybe
people would have seen Orcus Striker because that was so popular in the last YCS a week ago in Pasadena.
I think that'll definitely be the case for the top, the breakdown in top 32. But I think, like, you know, naturally there's like a bit of a lag, I feel sometimes, for people to catch on for the general sort of.
It's
public.
easy when you get your head in the bubble and you're like you're all over it. You're seeing all these deck profiles on YouTube and you're like, okay, this is the thing that was in all of the top 32. So surely everyone must be doing this. And then actually, hang on a second, maybe that's not the case.
It's a very, very sort of balanced proportion of
honestly,
the decks
because normally you often see like a large number one, a firm leader, or maybe like 2 or 3. But it's quite, the difference between Orcust and Sky Striker. I mean, we have classified Orcust as different to Orcust Sky Striker, so maybe if we added those two together, it might like peak out above.
Yeah.
But it's
Do you think
hard
Sky
to say.
Striker or Orcust is
significantly
that different? Yeah.
It's hard to say.
Could you really put it in the same category?
It's tricky because there are always decks like this. I mean, there's like Thunder Dragon, there's Dragon Combo, there's
Pure is very different from the combo variant.
Pendulum and like Endymion, and then there are decks that have a lot of similarities, and it's really like a difficult judgment call. So we're just picking what we think would be the most useful for the players.
Altergeist, True Draco, basically the same deck, to be honest. Should we take a look at how it breaks down?
Inspector Border beats Altergeist and not True Draco, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Let's take a look at the top 32 breakdown. So this is your unsurprising, I think. Well, Orcust basically
Orcust
dominating.
pure,
If you put them both together, you have, is that over 50%?
It's exactly 50%.
Yep,
like 9
which
7.
is interesting because this is for the last, I want to say 3 events in a row, exactly 50% representation by Orcust. Last YCS was on the dot, 50%. The American YCS, Pasadena,
you're excited.
50%.
This makes you happy, does it?
It's just crazy because it's like right there down the middle,
For the ones who have been following, we do not have a mysterious other this round. We did check. In the last couple of events on our tournament software, there's been like a one rogue mysterious player that made the tournament add up to 33, and now we're good. We have 32 exact. We know who everyone's playing. There is no rogue man.
Yep.
It's not Marcello just creeping into the tournament.
So this is is it the case of the mighty have fallen? Look at the position of Thunder Dragon. One lone single top.
It was like
32.
4.
Just one.
2 True Draco.
True Draco is statistically better than Thunder Dragon at this point. Aren't you disappointed? A deck that can run prize cards is now worse.
Any deck can run prize cards.
Well, okay. Are you going to play Chaos Emperor and Altergeist?
I mean, you could play Minerva in any deck that can make a rank 4. Let's be honest. So.
You could play as a Ghost Reaper target, I guess, in any deck. So anyway,
that Moonlight Orcust being represented, I believe, by the winner of YCS Ghent.
Johannes Ubrecht.
I didn't want to say his name because I didn't know if I would say it right, but you went for it.
I've probably destroyed it, but let's go with Johannes. Yeah, he's in contention as well, so he's looking to capitalize on that success from a big W.
Speaking of player names, so hopefully we can bring out. This is the bracket. So this is everyone's favorite graphic. It looks great. I mean, it's a bit small because we've got 32 players, but
there's a whole lot of what's the word? Big matches that could really
big matches.
Yeah,
so
you have the UK national champion Marcus Patel playing against Johannes, a YCS champion for Ghent.
That is pretty cool.
I want to say, was it?
It was Ghent. Yeah.
There's a pendulum mirror match taking place between. Oh no,
it's not actually. It's very easy to confuse the two, Vladis and Vasilis.
Yeah, okay, sorry, I just can't read. My bad.
We have Marcel Burry, who we saw in round 2, has come all the way.
We have a showing from Croatia by, I think his name is Christopher, Christian Masic from Croatia, playing against a French player.
I believe he was playing Musketeers.
Yeah, I think he is
deck.
indeed the magical musket player. So,
and Lars from our previous round, along with some very good players. Adrian Durson. You can see who was a world's points leader.
Yep. There's a lot of good names in here, so we're definitely in for a.
We've done well on the features, because we can see Vladis, who we featured in round 3, made it into the top cut, and Marcel, who we featured in round 2. We've done the opposite of cursing them. So what we're hearing here is, if you want to get in the top cut, you need to have a feature.
You need to be featured.
Yeah, exactly.
So make sure you come to me with your spicy deck list. So I think we're ready to just about begin now. So we're going to take it over to the table and get started for this top 32 matchup. Niall McNulty on the right with his Sky Striker Orcust versus Thomas Williams playing pure Sky Striker. I don't think we've seen this yet.
For you before. No, that was why we picked it. It means how can we have an event where we've not featured Sky Striker the whole event?
Yep.
Madness. But now we will put two right that wrong.
So Dark Grapher pitches the Harp in the hand, and this basically gives him the Harp access, which is the most important one, but now also the Extender, which is probably going to be World Wand, or he will be getting World Wand in some capacity.
Yeah, World Wand Nightmare is reasonable because I can send the World Wand as well.
Yeah.
Do you like the Skullmeister?
That is a card that has really cropped up recently. It's cardboard. Wow.
I love how old it is.
It's got text on it. Yeah,
it's almost as old as DD Crow, I think.
Almost as old as you.
It's almost as old as me. I don't think it's as old as me. But it's like, it was a hand trap back in the days before people even had the name hand trap.
Yeah, it's like this card just activates.
I don't know if it was
hand.
out before Effect Veiler, though. I don't actually know.
Would you call Gores a hand trap?
Gores.
Is that a hand trap? Would you define it as a classical hand trap? Like,
it's definitely not that sort of hand trap. Gores and Tragodia, if you remember.
Ah, Tragodia.
But we see it here, like, it's one interruption, but when your opponent's got, you know, multiple extenders, it's...
Yeah. So Skullmeister is negates a card effect in the graveyard, correct?
It negates a card that activates in the grave.
Yeah.
So its function's a bit different to DD Crow and Ghost Bell.
So yeah, so that's what I was getting at here. So the difference is between Skullmeister and Ghost Bell. How do you feel that like kind of weighs up in like the meta? Do you think you would like Skullmeister is just kind of better at the moment?
Personally, I prefer Ghost Bell.
Yeah.
If you're running Sky Striker.
Skullmeister is a dark as well, right?
Yeah. So Skullmeister is a dark is a big advantage for the Orcus deck because they're running 3 copies of Allure of Darkness. So if their opening hand is not so strong and they want to activate Allure of Darkness, and they can banish a hand trap which might not be so useful on your first turn. So that was why I think DD Crow was very popular, along with possibly Skullmeister. Personally, I think like Ghost Bell can negate almost everything that Skullmeister can, but it has the advantage of negating activations, which allows you to activate it in the damage step. Skullmeister only negates effects, so that can't activate in the damage step. But Skullmeister, on the flip side, is an old enough hand trap that I believe it probably doesn't say once per turn, if we want to bring that up.
Once per turn is indeed a clause that has been a bit of a modern addition to the game, you know? Shoutouts to Armageddon Knight.
Well, you have to summon it loads of times. I mean,
yeah, Isolde, summon number 1.
Yeah.
DDR, summon number 2.
Yeah, I think there was a. I showed you could do that a lot of times.
So taking a look at Tommy's hand here for going second, just that Skullmeister, it's not quite in as high impact, I guess, as you would maybe want it to be at this point.
Yeah, it's one of those, like, so the Orcus
It's because
deck,
you opened the Harp with the
Yeah, some people complain the Orcus deck, things like you have your normal summon, and then you just hope that it doesn't get negated. I mean, you can have extra cards like Foolish, or you can have Grapher to discard, but often you're just hoping.
Yeah.
And in this case, so if you just had the one extender, then Skullmeister would have shut down the turn.
I mean, this is basically like everything you really need on your first turn with
Orcus.
Yeah, you just have your Masquerena with the Babel and a loaded graveyard.
And a Phantasme in hand, no less, against Sky Striker.
So
I think if you're Thomas, like you're the thing that you hope is going to get you there is that there can be only one, right?
Yeah, that's the thing that you're going to try and like flip on your opponent's like push on their like turn 3 to try and like prevent like an OTK potentially.
And hope they've only got their machines left.
Yep, and haven't picked up some kind of like
we will
Cosmic or something. Does Niall have any sort of main deck outs here for it? Should he run into issues? I'm not seeing any.
I mean, you don't need like specific spell and trap movement.
Yeah, because you have Dingirsu. So
you have Dingirsu possibly. You have, you can just summon a Nightmare Phoenix.
That works as well.
But it's just hard work. It just requires you to.
You have to be a little bit
very limited options.
It's a bit like.
What's happened to Niall's life points?
Well,
he lost a lot for that.
Yeah, that's
Cosmic Cyclone, but you pay 1,000, deal
a very damaging Cosmic Cyclone.
I think he gained 1,000, and he was just put to 1,000.
Yep, there we go. 9,000 life points.
So that's 7,000. So now he can activate. No, he can't. There's a card that you can use if your life points are 9,000 or above, right? Ancient Leaf.
Isn't it 12? Isn't it like 12,000?
Nah, it's 9,000.
Oh, okay. It's the most broken card in Tag Duel because you start with 16. So like, that thing's just pot of greed. If anyone there's a Tag Duel tournament going on, by the way. Maybe we should feature that at some point.
There's 3v3, isn't it? But I don't know about tag.
No, literal tag, not 3v3.
I have no
tag.
idea what Tag Duel is. I mean, I don't know the rules. I'm sure. I think I played a locals that did it once a very long time ago.
Trisbania being summoned here.
Trisbania is huge. Like I was going to comment as to whether he ran it as extra deck. I didn't have time to have a look, but he obviously does. And it banishes spells and traps. That is crazy good against Sky Striker. Prevent the area 0. He's going to get rid of the Metal Foes fusion.
Yeah.
And now Thomas is left with very little.
Yeah, it's what happened to his There Can Be Only One?
It's still in his hand.
Is he not doing this during the end phase? Is this not what this is?
No, so he just did it to prevent area 0.
Yeah, because he forced it out by hitting the Babel, so he was like, I guess, kind of forced to use it.
Well, he banished it, and then he was using Gizmek to trigger the...
So Hayate is going to like come down and attack and probably bin an Enge, I want to say, because that's a drone he opens, correct?
I would happily. You could bin a Ray, but I don't really see it. I think binning an Engage is probably better.
Yep.
Get the extra draw. He's probably going to do something to get rid of the Trisbana, because the Trisbana immediately threatens that there can be only one.
So this is the feature match portion of the Engage into Engage section. Yeah, this is what's going to happen. Yeah.
When do you think Niall is going to drop his Phantasme? Okay, that's a now.
Okay. Do you think there's any reason he decided to hold it until the Shizuku? Like, you know, because like maybe you just want to use it immediately. So like, you know, your opponent summons Hayate, you want to like Phantasme, try and draw like the Ash for like the engage that they're dumping.
Yeah.
But he's actually chose to like save that till the end phase.
I don't actually know. I mean, there's some value to like not showing it to your opponent for as long as you can, because they might make a decision based off whether you do or don't have it. But I can see, like, I would probably rather just do it on the Kagari maybe, so you might draw an Ash, but he might not be running Ash. So he's not running Ash, so I suppose there's no reason. There's nothing you could see, so you might as well let you see as much as you can from your opponent, because it seems very likely to me that he's going to be making the Shizuku. Unless he was making some seriously next level plays.
Yeah.
That would be seriously next level. So, I mean, at the moment, there can be only one. It's very threatening against Orcus, but he's actually got two non-machines on the board. So my guess is the end phase Shark Cannon, perhaps?
Yeah, you search in the end phase and then resolve the roll to like set it to give you an extra line of defense. But that pickup of DD Crow is really big.
Yes, so he's got one Shark Cannon maybe now to banish one monster from his opponent's graveyard. Then he'll get the Shark Cannon back off the multi-roll and have the DD Crow, so he's going to be able to banish 3 monsters in total from his opponent's graveyard. But this Trisbania is very threatening, and there's no real way of him to stop it. So it's a bit of a bold, it's a gambit. You know, you're basically saying, can your opponent special summon any monsters?
Do you think it would have been possible for Niall to hold the Gizmek? And
he did. I mean, he used it kind of preemptively, so he used it to get rid of the Area 0 and Foe's Fusion.
So do you think maybe he could have just like let him like resolve that and then just maybe try and resolve it in the end phase and like clear any advantage that...
That is definitely a different plan that you can go for. It's definitely like a line of play. Remember, he didn't know what Thomas had, so it's...
You just don't really want to risk it.
It's fair. I mean, he did cut him off from a significant number of cards because the Area 0 can now no longer be destroyed. So it got rid of 2 cards, Metal Foe's Fusion, Area 0, which is quite a good combination of cards. So I can see the merit to it, and it might have been that Thomas just didn't have any other stars, and that might have just won him the game on the spot. So it's really hard to make a good judgment call on that.
So on the normal summon of Harp, I guess he's probably going to consider whether he flips the there can be only one now. What's the type of Trisbania?
Trisbania is a Cybers.
Cybers, yeah?
Yeah, all of the topologics are Cybers.
There we go.
So Trisbania is slightly different to the other topologics. So it might trip you up. So most of the other topologic monsters say when a monster is summoned to any zone that a link monster points to, it activates the effect. So Trisbania's effect only activates when a monster points to a zone, when a monster is summoned to a zone that it points to. So it can make a difference because it's surprisingly awkward just to have a Bomber Dragon on the board and your opponent like trying to do their usual combos, because they're just like, how can you not summon monsters to where a link monster points to? It's very difficult. Yeah. I mean, how are you going to summon things from the extra deck?
Yeah.
And here, that Shizuku's not giving him an extra arrow, you see, right? So there's no way for him to summon something and not proc his own Trisbania. So he's going to have to.
So Phoenix's like priority here, do you think, is like to...
Phoenix's priority is just to discard a card, if I'm totally honest.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, Trisbania's going to proc anyway. So, I mean, actually, if Phoenix resolves, which it will, it's actually going to do a worse job for him.
Yeah, because you want it removed. You don't want it
You'd rather
like,
banish
destroyed.
it and your opponent take extra damage. So it may have made more sense just to target. I mean, it's kind of a security policy in case the Trisbania gets negated, right?
Sure.
Because that way you know the multi-roll will be destroyed.
Yeah, like
and he's also wanting to put the Harpor in the grave. But
now, with the... sorry, just... waiting to see what exactly he picks here. He's going for Skeleton. Do you think maybe like Dingirsu is like the call?
No, you need to just shut them off from Orcus monsters entirely. But I don't think
going for Harp here.
It's going to work out, because the problem is, so he's got the DD Crow for 1 more banish, but he's got 1 extra Skeleton and a Harp in his graveyard. And then Thomas is going to be left with absolutely nothing because he doesn't even have a Ray in his grave.
Yeah. I think the only saving grace would be a potential top deck of Engage here.
So that discard for the Nightmare Phoenix was a good shout.
Yeah.
So he could have just said, okay, I don't need to destroy anything because the Trisbane is going to banish everything anyway. But in fact, he really needed the second copy of Heart Horror in his graveyard, because otherwise the DD Crow would have banished the Skeleton and that would have been him done for the turn. But fortunately, he has 1 more Orcust in his grave than Thomas has banishes, right?
Yeah, and he's removing the Galatea that was targeted by the Skeleton with his DD Crow. That was the last card in his hand, so he's literally top decking right now.
He's literally top decking, so you know there is one possible top deck to rule them all.
We all know it. We know what it is, and
I mean, having said that, his graveyard is not. Oh, it is full, just about. Yeah, it's got enough.
He's got 3 spells in there.
Yeah. Okay, but honestly, I don't even think an Engage gets you out of it at this point. If you're Niall, I can't really see any reason for you not to set up Galatea with a Crescendo, unless you... there is a reason, which is in case you banished it, but if you've not banished the Crescendo with Gizmek, then I don't really see a better card to get off Galatea. I mean, Babel's already gone, so it's either that or Return.
Goes to the battle phase and attacks over here, and because there's no Ray in the graveyard, there's pretty much...
It's much easier. I think Thomas is just going to check, just in case. That a Ray
just in case a Ray managed to spawn there. Parachute in. All right.
Good old Ray.
Linking off.
It's always there. He's just thinking, have I got that extra Galatea? I believe the answer is yes. He's only used 1.
Yeah. So this is where we figure out if he has the Crescendo or not from this Gizmek.
He's probably just going to have a little look.
Returning Gizmek. Drum roll. Does he have it?
Oh,
he does, yes. He does,
okay.
He did hit it off the Gizmek.
I feel like, okay, that's enough for Thomas. He knows,
up,
like, there's not a card I can top deck without something that negates anything.
Niall takes game 1, and moving on to the side decks. Let's take a look at this. Tommy's playing 3 copies of Lancia, Twister.
Dark Ruler no more.
Yep. Come on, that was poor effort. I couldn't quite make out his handwriting.
Weren't you a teacher? Shouldn't you be able to read bad handwriting?
That's actually a good point.
Sorry, calling you out there.
He's playing MST.
MST?
Ye Old Faithful MST.
Ye Old Faithful? I mean, he's already main decking Cosmic Cyclone, so, you know.
Yeah,
I don't know. MST has nice interactions because you can MST your own area 0 as a last resort.
What do you think he chooses to go for here, first or second?
I think he chooses first, and I think we see 3 Sanctum, 1 Scythe, and 3 Lancia, all of which are capable of shutting down your opponent's entire turn by themselves.
Completely stopping them, like, immediately.
And we don't give the Sky Striker Orcus player any time to set up, because, I mean, Sanctum into Scythe is just devastating. In Lancia, you might say, okay, you can still use the Sky Striker cards, but, I mean, like, Scythe, what do you do?
For Niall's side deck, he's playing a singular copy of Pankratops, which... Do you think that card's useful versus Striker?
Yes, because there can be only 1. You can out that.
Yeah, so that's probably going to be the most issue. I feel like Sky Striker kind of resolves around getting as much advantage as possible, setting up there can be only 1, and just stopping you with all these different hand traps you draw off your engages.
Yeah, I feel like Sky Striker, beforehand, maybe when you had 3 anchor, you might be able to rely on the Sky Striker cards to just stop whatever your opponent was doing. I don't feel like that's the case anymore. I feel like now the Sky Striker cards kind of function secondarily just to actually protect your floodgates.
Yep.
So you now have okay, so maybe your opponent might have the 1 out, so there can be only 1. They might try and make a Phoenix, and then you go, okay, I'll have my 1 Widow Anchor for that. Or they might try and use Salamangreat Great Foxy, and you go, okay, I'll have the Shot Cannon to prevent that. So I feel like that's kind of the Sky Striker strategy now. It's kind of like it's the best support engine for the there can be only 1.
So I think we'll probably see these Twins and the Pank come in.
Twins, Pank.
The Waves and the Afterburner as well, maybe?
Possibly just the Afterburner, but maybe the Waves as well. Yeah. Sorry, just the Waves rather than the Afterburner, because I mean, it feels bad. You don't really destroying the Sky Striker link is pretty irrelevant unless you only really want it for the second effect, and that requires you to have 3 spells.
Yep.
I could see it either way. You're definitely going to take out the Shark Cannons if you're Niall, right? So
How do you think this matchup usually goes, like, recently with the, you know, all the Sky Striker hits? Like, the deck has really suffered a couple of, like, really, you know, traumatizing limits on this ban list.
I mean, honestly, I think people were definitely pegging Sky Striker to have the advantage over Orcust last format, when Orcust was significantly stronger. And maybe that's why people are still bringing Sky Striker even in its weakened form, because they think, like, you can just include 3 Shark Cannon and just banish everything in sight. And what's the Orcust supposed to do without a graveyard? I mean, honestly, I think the Orcust deck is just more powerful, and that's why we've been seeing so much more of it compared to Striker. It's performed significantly better than Striker over the weekend. But I think the matchup-wise, I think you're probably, like, you've got to be thinking Orcust is the deck you're targeting if you're taking Striker. You've got to be planned. I mean, he's maining, like, 3 Diddy Crow, 3 Skullmeister.
What do you think about the Demise variant of Striker?
I think it's the best variant of Striker.
Oh, yeah, really?
Right now, yeah. But you do like, I mean, everyone loves their hand traps. Make you feel so safe.
Yeah, you do feel a little bit more comfortable if you run into any combo decks or something. It seems like he's opened up 2 copies if there can be only 1. There's a Shark Cannon, a Diddy Crow.
I assume that's meant to be Foolish Burial goods in his hand, and not just regular old Foolish Burial.
Oh, yeah, there you go. That's good.
Foolish, send Ray.
Yeah. 2, there can be only 1 versus the Twin Twister might not quite cut it here.
It's tricky to say, because if you activate the like, if you wouldn't activate them both at the same time, right? So Niall might not know where the second one is, so it might come down to like a 50-50. Or
he has to draw some kind
of
engine
the way he
here.
just, like,
to terraforming. Okay, we're getting
the top deck.
Yeah.
Did you see that? He was like, I'm just gonna have a little look.
All right.
I'm gonna look at it first.
Tommy's really looking for, like, some kind of engine here, because he's got, like, the first piece of the puzzle. You know, he's got the defensive hand trap, he's got the floodgates, but he really needs to try and pick up, I guess, ideally, Array.
Array.
Or an Engage.
Engage, yeah.
Yeah.
I think Engage is number 1.
He tries to
multi-roll is fine because it gets your Array.
Rhoda. Okay, multi-roll.
Multi-roll, I would say, is second to Engage probably, because it gets you the Ray.
Yeah. So he's got something. He's got going, right? He's
just about there.
Yeah.
I mean, the problem I see now is that he's going to have the only 2 cards that Niall is not going to. He's going to set 2, right? That there can be only ones. And so there's no 50-50 anymore. That Twin Twister is almost certainly going to hit both copies if there can be only 1. So, I mean, generally speaking...
Do you think maybe he might make the decision, like, you know, I don't want to, like, try and play this resource game, I need to get rid of multi-roll?
That's true. I mean, if I'm a combo player, I think that the opinion that most players have, and something you said earlier as well, is if I think my engine is more powerful than theirs, my aim is just to make sure I can play my cards. So I know that, like, if your cards get going, you can clear the multi-roll with a Dingirsu or whatever. So you just twin the sets, and you just say, I'm just going to twin the sets, and that'll be that. And
and then I'll start my game plan here. And he picks up a Mathematician, I think that was for turn?
I think it was the Greffer for turn. Okay. Yeah, similar.
2 normal summons. The Twins, the Foolish Burial.
Return plus Orcust.
Let's see what he chooses here. Oh, he does go for the 2 sets. There can be only 1 is gone. And last line of defense for Tommy's going to be that Diddy Crow. He does have the Ray and Graveyard to float, so he might not be in too much trouble. Orchestrated Return.
I think if you're Niall, you feel very happy, unless this card, like, unless Thomas is immediately playing a Sanctum right now.
Was that a Gizmeki top deck, or is that an Engage? Is that an... I can't quite make it out.
That's a Hornet Drones.
Oh, okay.
You need to work on this.
I can't see. I can't.
Maybe
I'm looking at my artworks.
Lean your head to the right. That's what I did. There we go. It was a Hornet Drones.
Really terrible
at Magic.
I'm really bad at Yu-Gi-Oh! Like Pictionary, so like card art is just
the only
not
time
awesome
you got
for
it
me.
right was before the picture was up, right? So here we go. I mean, this is, you got to be feeling pretty bad. Like, Thomas's opening has just been taken apart somewhat by the
he didn't open
singular
like
twin.
He didn't open like amazing both games, but there really isn't anything I don't think he could have improved on. He really just played his game and just seems to have just lost to the superior deck.
Yeah, that's one of the things. Like, I feel like when you're playing a deck where almost, in the case like all things being equal, and you haven't had landed some unfair blowout that your deck loses, I don't like playing that deck. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't like playing a deck in that situation. You want to essentially just play the bigger deck. Do you know what I mean?
Like, you just kind of like just need that higher ceiling, because with something like Sky Striker, you are just relying on too many things to kind of go your way sometimes, right?
Oh, he's going for the Shizuku too. So I mean, now he's got, because the DD Crow can banish one thing, but that's not going to do when your opponent has two things in the grave. You know, they've got the he's got Foolish as well.
Why do you think Tommy didn't use the DD Crow on the harp there in the grave?
Maybe he's just waiting for like maximum impact on the DD Crow, and that might be the skeleton.
Okay.
But honestly, I don't really. It's one of them. Just you know, you've got the DD Crow. The Orcus monsters, they have a fair amount of redundancy in what they can do. You banish one, they can just return it to the graveyard and use it anyway. I mean, if you banish the Harp Horror, right, he's got a Nightmare in his grave. You can just banish that, send him another Harp Horror.
Yeah.
It's very...
Yeah.
It's very hard.
He just holds it for like that final like Dingirsu maybe.
Yeah,
or the skeleton.
I think the maximum impact is you just hope that banishing the symbol skeleton target is good enough.
So I think Stick here is probably going to go send Wand, and he's just going to try and extend a little bit further. Where do you kind of, I mean, is there a way to go for game here, do you think? Probably not with the Ray in the graveyard.
Yeah, Striker is sticky like that, right?
Yeah,
it can be quite irritating. You think like, oh, I should be able to win, but actually, I mean, between like the Shizuku takes one attack and then
the Ray takes another.
Ray takes another, but
like stops one.
So yeah, Kaina stops an attack. So between like Ray and Kaina, they stop 3 things.
Oh, he DD Crows the World Wand here?
Sure. I mean, World Wand's a nice one because it's a monster, and then it also gets back a monster from the banish zone. So it's a nice one to DD Crow because it kind of cuts them off from 2 resources, right, if you were to activate it.
Just taking a look at Tommy's graveyard here to see if... yeah, the Ray's definitely in there. And for Niall, take a look at his graveyard.
What are you having to look for?
I'm just trying to make sure that we're all up to date on all the resources that are out in play.
So I can get behind Niall's decision there to search for the Crescendo because he knows the last card in Tommy's hand is the Engage.
Yep.
So I think it's a little bit of effort to try and clear the...
Is there an optimal way to clear this Shizuku Ray?
Yeah, so I mean at the moment he's just going to attack. And I think he's presumably hoping he has more spells.
So 3 for Niall and
he might have miscounted.
For Tommy. Oh, has he done a little bit of boo-boo here? Pretty sure Tommy's Shizuku is bigger than his. Just in case like the graveyards haven't been updated or something. Oh, well, I mean, he did use the...
oh, that was nice. Actually, we didn't spot that, but yeah, it's got 800 extra attack.
Yeah. Okay. So his will definitely beat over, right?
Okay. I mean, I don't think there's 8 spells different. They're just verifying that what the damage is. Probably it's a lot of counting. Count how many spells you have. Count how many spells I have. So how many spells are there? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 for Tommy and
3.
1. You counted already, did you? Return, Twin, and what's his third spell? And Drones. Okay. So that's enough. So perhaps the Kaina comes down here just to prevent the Galatea from attacking it. So then you can make Kaina. So maybe Niall's plan is Dingirsu in main phase 2, and then link into Galatea perhaps. So Dingirsu can send the Kaina to the graveyard. So then he knows he'll have the Crescendo to cancel out the Engage, so Tommy's effectively top decking.
There's a lot of like work and effort involved with just clearing like...
Just clearing a single Sky Striker.
Just one Striker Link monster like requires you to go through all these hoops.
It's like they're not going to do that much, but they're just going to be there.
Yeah, they're just always going to be sticking.
They're there with you forever. You cannot get rid of them.
I think Tommy's like probably... only hope would be to like get another Engage, I think, right? Because like one of them's going to get negated by that set.
Well, I mean, anything that answers the Engage, right?
You mean the Crescendo?
Sorry. Yeah, anything that answers the Crescendo will do. So be it a Widow Anchor or a... Oh, this is nice. So he's going to get to keep his Shizuku as well.
Foolish
and he had the Foolish Burial, lest we forget. So Shizuku will also search him and engage, which more or less feels like it seals the game. Like, how do you see yourself coming back for Tommy? Like, it's got to be like some nutty string of engages, right? He's not used Kagari, I suppose, so he could theoretically resolve a lot of copies of Engage on his own turn.
Niall bins and basically has access to all the machines in his deck that he could want at this point. He's sent the final Gizmek, so now like on his following turn or Tommy's end phase, he's going to be able to summon that Gizmek. Set up for that OTK.
What is
Engage,
the draw?
top deck
It is
says
an
Ash
Ash.
Blossom.
Oh, no.
It's just not enough.
I mean, you probably activate the Engage and see if your opponent
remembers to flip the trap
does the
card.
very simple thing of negating the Engage.
You never know, you never know. Checks his graveyard.
But you might just bluff it.
Checks graveyard. Thinks.
Is he just passing?
He's really thinking about all possible scenarios in which he can maybe come through here. Did he pass for a turn?
Yeah, I think that makes sense, but I don't think it will do the trick. Did Niall actually search? Oh, he did, yeah. He searched his Engage.
Yeah.
So he's got the Engage.
Why do you think passing's the best play here?
Well, it's a hope to survive. I mean, what else do you do? You activate the Engage, it gets negated, right? So then you'll only have an Ash, whereas this way you might draw like something to answer the Engage, and then you can try and use the Engage on your following turn.
But surely Niall just OTKs him.
Yes, but you surely lose if you activate the Engage as well, because then you have like,
sure.
At least in this hope, like Niall might do something wrong, whereas I don't think he's feasibly going to expect.
You think he could have like set the Ash or something as a chomp blocker?
I think Ash is more likely to help you survive if you keep it in your hand, right?
What are you ashing at this point when you have a loaded graveyard?
Like a Harp Horror?
The Harp, I guess, yeah. All right.
I mean, I agree it's very speculative, but
it's
I guess there's no need to concede if it's game 3.
Yeah, there's Gizmek, and that's Gizmek is just such a like crazy card because of the fact that it's a quick effect.
Yeah, it's
and
huge.
You're able to bring it out on your opponent's turn, which lets you set up.
And you can do like these battle phase tricks, and it's just crazy good.
Yep.
So that is Boral Sword.
Oh, I love that like Link hand motion you did there. You just scoop them all together, and here we go, bringing down the Boral Sword.
And then you know one of the cards is Ash, and that's it's not enough for Tommy. Okay,
he's checking to see if he does have that final piece for the Boral Sword to put into defense and then attack for game.
Yeah, has he not got the skeleton?
I think he removed. I mean, remember Tommy had like 1 million removal cards. Like he had like the Shark and the DD Crow. So let's try and bring this graveyard up for you guys and take a look here.
I mean, he's only on 74 as well, so I think this may just be game as is. He just summoned the... Is it?
Leaves him on 14?
He's on 74, and he just boosted the... Okay. Okay, yeah, that's definitely game over, right? Because he can just bring back a Dingirsu.
Return, sending the skeleton back to the graveyard, and he's able to just bring it out. Use its effect to bring out this Dingirsu.
You bring out the Galatea just in case.
Oh yeah,
something
yeah, just in case.
So you can activate the crescendo.
So you can crescendo the Gores of the crescendo.
Crescendo the engage that your opponent activates on your turn to block your attack. He's just maybe calculating it now that it's enough damage because he's already used Boral Sword's effect. So that looks like 78. Your opponent has 1 card in hand. You have it, crescendo, and he's just going through all the attacks.
Does the maths.
There we go.
There we go. All right. Sky Striker, not quite making it. What do you think went wrong?
I feel like it's just one of those games. You have to feel kind of bad for Tommy. Like it's just one of those games where you didn't really have that much of a chance. As long as it was kind of all in his opponent's hands. Like there was one of them. Maybe if his opponent had made some large error somewhere that you might have had a go, but when I don't think I could see much different that he could have done on his first turn. Like
all credit where credit's due. Tommy played as best as he could.
But I was very like the play from Niall was very clean.
Yeah, both players did
real
their
question
best
marks over that.
Yeah,
everything was set up.
It's just one of those cases where it's just like when you have this situation where you're playing a deck that just has a lower ceiling. You're playing against like Orca Sky Striker, which is just like I think objectively more powerful.
It's just why
and you put them head to head.
Orcas being the best deck.
Yeah. All weekend, we've seen this deck performing at such a high level, and it's a reason that it's taken 50% of the top cut here. So it's not without coincidence that we've been seeing its dominance.
Yeah, totally agree.
What's your predictions for the rest of this tournament?
I mean, I feel like you'd have to be predicting Sky Striker August at this point. So as we said before, we saw it like creeping out of the deck breakdown in the first round. It was in the other category, no less. And then in the top 32, it's risen to the second most popular by a margin of 2. So, I mean, that's really impressive showing for a deck to have.
Do you think maybe it's not a question of like whether it's like it's more a question of like which variant is going to like take it all? Do you think?
I feel like you've got to. I mean, again, like just from the performance perspective, you've got to give the edge to Sky Striker August.
They're a little bit like neck and neck.
They're
the
very
pure
similar,
version,
yeah.
And
but I mean, but you've got to think of like the difference in. Like as I said, Orcus was in the Orcus Pure was the most popular deck, and has just about retained that over Orcus Sky Striker, which it was in the other category, which means it had less than 60 at the beginning of the tournament, and now has 7 spots.
Well, I'm going to be rooting for this one-off Magic Bullet player.
We all are. We all are.
Hoping that,
if dare I mention what happened at Milan last year? If you
go on,
Prank Kids
tell us.
Took the whole event.
Right.
No one knew what they did. I didn't know what they did.
Yeah, these things can happen. You know, someone just reads your card for the first time, and you're like, "Oh, this was in a set like 2 years ago."
And you're like, "I'll activate this effect," and you're like, "Okay, I'll negate it," and then they're like, "Chain something." Your negation does nothing. This sort of nonsense.
Well, let me tell you. Have you ever read Dancing Needle?
Yes.
Yeah.
It banishes 3.
3.
You like
3.
it? I feel like they will. Well, we'll see. Hopefully, we'll get to see the Magic Bullets in action next round.
Yep. So yeah, we're actually going to be on for the next round, and then we'll be returning very shortly. So we're going to take you over to the players now, and Matt Bell is joined for an interview.
Hi, thanks guys. I'm here with Niall, the winner of that round. Congratulations. How do you feel?
I feel brilliant. Yeah, first time on the live stream, and I win.
So that match looked very mechanical. Like you knew exactly what you were doing. It was very much. I've practiced this 100 times. How many times have you practiced this matchup?
It's really just educated guesses with the striker matchup. Luckily, I've played a lot of control matchups in Swiss, and it became a bit methodical, to be honest. Yeah.
Has that been how most of your matches have gone this weekend, or was that one just very clean for you?
Yeah, like Trisbane put some work. Back row decks just really struggle to, gain an advantage when you set up an IP, and you can just Trisbane, and they can't do anything.
Yeah, it did definitely look like it went that way. So do you have any friends or anyone you want to give a shout out to back home?
Yes, all my teammates, Zahab, Zeki, and Chen, who helped out. We all theoried this deck. After watching YCS Pasadena as well, everyone should have been on Striker Orcus. Let's be real.
So, considering how well you're doing, is there any changes you would have made to your deck, or are you thinking this is actually 100% going to win me the tournament?
There have been a few times I've missed like an Eagle booster here and there. It might have been clutch, but nah, not really. I think I'm all right.
All right, guys. That's going to wrap up our top 32 match. Join us again soon for the top 16. We'll be right back.